Welcome back to part two.
Um, so for this episode, for this part of episode 1, we're going to be doing, reviewing, or looking through Dragon Blast, I should say. Um, and in the next part, probably, we're going to be doing, the the theme decks, which have different cards, and Dragon Selection. So first, let's just I really like the full arts, especially Ho-Oh EX. It looks really awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Registeel and Rayquaza look pretty awesome too.
hmm
Um, Rayquaza looks like it's doing the outrage animation from Black and White too. If you've seen that,
Yeah, it looks exactly like they just took it from the game and put it right in a card.
yeah. Um,
Pretty-
then there's the shinies. Crocodile looks pretty awesome, and so
Yeah.
does Superior, I guess. So now on to Dragon Blast. Let's see. Okay, so the first one here is the new Ninetales. Its ability, Bright Look. It's the exact same ability as Luxray GL Level X from Luxchamp. Um, when you evolve it, it's basically a catcher. And then its attack does 20 damage plus 50 more damage for each special condition on the defending Pokemon. And this could be interesting for Amoonguss decks, doing 120 damage and excluding poison. Also, there's another card. Forgot what it was. Um, yeah, so that would be pretty good. It's just for fire energy, so it's really cheap too.
Yeah.
And yeah,
One of the next playable cards that may be playable would be Wailord. It has a whopping 200 HP, which is very good. And its first attack for 1 water energy does 30 damage times flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 damage times the amount of water energy attached to this Pokemon, which could probably be 4, so 30 times 4 is 120, which is not bad. And Giant Wave does 80 damage for 1 water and 3 colorless, and it cannot use Giant Wave during the next turn. The only bad thing about this card is Zekrom with the lightning weakness. It can be one-shotted.
yeah. Also, a little note here. I feel like the water cannon is a mistranslation. It might be flip a coin for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. Um, because you see that a lot more often than flip a coin. If heads, you do damage. If tails, you don't do damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one worth noting is Ampharos. It's a stage 2. Says on the thing on Pokebeach that it's stage 1, but it's obviously a stage 2. Um, Electromagnetic Wall. If it's the active Pokemon, whenever your opponent attaches an energy card from his or her hand to one of his or her Pokemon, place 3 damage counters on that Pokemon. And placing 3 damage counters instead of doing 30 damage to it means that even with Eviolite, it still does 30. Its attack for lightning and double colorless is kind of like Night Spear. Electric Bullet does 70 damage and 20 damage to a benched Pokemon. I can see this getting some play. Being paired with the Manectric that we talked about last episode. It's got a really good ability. Definitely gonna see a little bit of play at least. So yeah. I you there?
Oh yeah, sorry. The next card probably worth noting is Mew EX. Its ability is versatile, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's
But
versatile.
this Pokemon can use the attacks of all Pokemon in play as its own. You still need the necessary energy to use each attack, which kind of stinks, but I mean it's pretty good. And for one psychic energy, its attack is replaced. Choose as many energy cards attached to your Pokemon as you like, then reattach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. The only threat that I see this card being in is that it has only 120 HP and it's weak to Psychic. So Mewtwo can come in with 3 energy on it and X-Ball it and take 2 easy prizes.
Yeah. Um, so the next card is Drifblim. It has 100 HP and it's weak to Dark, which is bad because that means it's still OHKO'd by a Night Spear. Um, and its attack, Shadow Steel, does 50 damage times the amount of special energy cards in your opponent's discard pile. And that's cool with Enhanced Hammer. That would be an awesome deck because it wouldn't work with decks that don't run as many special energy though. So you need a backup attacker. But that would be a really interesting deck. Um, and it in my opinion it goes well with the new Sigilyph, which is actually next.
So Sigilyph is a psychic Pokemon that has 90 HP, and its ability is Safeguard. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to Sigilyph by your opponent's Pokemon EX. This is a really good card, considering about every Pokemon card that everyone's running right now is a Pokemon EX. You have Darkrai, Mewtwo, Rayquaza. Most of those are just going to be in every deck. So to counter that is basically one of the best things that you can have. And its attack for 1 psychic energy and a double colorless does 50 damage. Does 10 more damage for each energy card attached to the defending Pokemon, which is pretty good.
Yeah, the only downside I see this having is it's 90 HP, meaning regular Terrakion, regular Zekrom, pretty much most of the non-EX cards OHKO this. But the next card that is worth mentioning is Garbodor. Has 100 HP, and its ability states that when it has a tool card attached to it, ignore all abilities print on any cards in either player's field, hand, or discard pile, excluding any Death Toxins. That's really good. It locks down Electric. What else does it lock down? Mew EX if that sees play. Just mainly Electric, like Emboar. I feel like there's a lot more Pokemon that use abilities. Oh yeah, actually Sigilyph. So, Sigilyph is easily knocked out if that thing's in play with the tool card attached to it. Unfortunately, it loses playability to, that that item card that discards tools. I forgot what it was called.
Tool Scrapper.
Tool Scrapper, yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be really good last format, or this format I should say, but I don't know how much playability it will see because of Tool Scrapper.
Yeah. The next card probably worth mentioning is Stunfisk. For 1 fighting energy, it does 20 damage and does 20 more damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, which is okay. For 1 fighting and 1 colorless energy, it does 40 damage, and the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. So with Catcher and, like, say there's an Eel up, it would do pretty good against it.
Yeah, I mean, Pump Smash attaches 2 basic energy cards, which is really good in Terrakion decks especially. But we have to speed up now because we have 5 more minutes and like half of the set to go. So next card that I think is worth mentioning is Honchkrow. It has 110 HP, and its attacks for a Dark and a DCE does 70 damage, and you discard a card from your opponent's hand without looking. Uh, I think that's pretty good, but I mean, I don't know how much playability you'll see because it has a high energy cost. And
Yeah.
yeah,
The one card that you skipped over would be Terrakion EX for 1 fighting and 1 colorless. Its
we
attack
already
is Rock Clone.
you, huh?
No, I did Stunfisk earlier.
Oh, I was. Never mind. I thought you
uh,
were talking about Terrakion EX.
yeah, it does 50 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by resistance, which is pretty good. For 2 fighting and 1 colorless, Pump Smash does 90 damage. Choose 2 basic energy cards from your hand, then attach them to your benched Pokemon in any way you like, which is very good for moving around energy.
Yeah. So the next card is Aggron, 140 HP. And its ability down the mountain. When you evolve it, you use the ability and you discard the top 3 cards from your opponent's deck. I have a feeling Durant might make a comeback with this card because it's pretty good. I like it. You could run like a 3/3 line with de-evolution, 3/3 line with de-evolution spray, and just keep on evolving every turn, and just do like 7 cards per turn, which is pretty. Discard 7 cards per turn, which is really nice.
The only problem with that is that it has a hefty 4 retreat cost.
Yeah, you have to run like force switch with this.
Yeah. And the next card worth noting is Giratina EX. Its first attack for 1 grass, 1 psychic, and 1 colorless attack is Tear. It does 90 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on the defending Pokemon, which is very good for defensive things. And its second attack does 130 damage for 1 grass, 1 psychic, and a double colorless. It does 130 damage and discard the top 3 cards of your deck. This is pretty good, but discarding 3 cards from the top of your deck could cost you the game.
Yeah. Actually, something really worth mentioning is that Tear can KO Sigilyph because it states that it isn't affected by effects on the defending Pokemon. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Next card is Hydreigon. This is won a majority of Japan's stuff. Its ability, Dark Trance, basically, once during your turn, you can move around Dark Energy, yeah, from one Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. And its attack, Dragon Blast, does, 140 damage for a Psychic, 2 Dark, and a Colorless, and you discard 2 Dark Energy to it, from it, which is really, really nice. 140 damage OHKOs every Dragon type in this format, and most of the Stage 2s, which seem to be making a comeback. And overall, it's really good because you can Dark Patch to the bench like a Darkrai or something, then just move the energy up and Dragon Blast the next turn.
Yeah. The next cards that are worth noting are probably just the trainers and the shinies that are left. We have De-Evolution Spray, which we've already talked about with the Aggron. This is a card that has already been made, but it's making a comeback. Choose one of your evolved Pokemon, then remove the top evolution card from that Pokemon. Return that evolution card to your hand.
And you can't re-evolve at the same turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It can only really see play in decks that state that when you play down this card, you do something, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Rescue Scarf is a rescue energy, except it doesn't. It's in a tool card, and it's just like a rescue energy, except it doesn't you make any energy.
Yeah. The next card is Blend Energy GRPD, which is Grass, Psychic, Fire, and
Dark.
darkness. Um, it provides one colorless, and either as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides either a grass, uh, psychic, fire, or darkness energy,
Um,
but only one energy at a time.
this is a pretty good card, but actually we have to end this part short because we are out of time. Bye.